people of Gotham City, the moment you have all been waiting for. The grand finale, the climax of my performance, the zenith of my career. The unmasking of Batman and Robin, the Boy Wonder.
One of the highlights of the old Batman TV show was its villains, a colorful cadre of conniving criminals, each played by one of the leading character actors of the day. Hi, I'm movie man Eric Houston. Today, most of these actors are best remembered for Batman, but each had long, interesting careers in their own right. Take, for example, Frank Gorshin, who played the Riddler in 9 episodes.
Oh, what is it that no man wants to have, yet no man wants to lose? A lawsuit. Correct, Boy Wonder.
In his day, Gorshin was a famous impressionist, known for spot-on impersonations of big Hollywood stars like Burt Lancaster and Kirk Douglas.
This time we have in our hands that slippery devil, Mr. Sweat.
Mr. Sweat? Holy perspiration. That him again? Hey, gosh, Batman, I wonder what he's up to this time.
No need to wonder, boy. Wonder, so no wonder, Wonder Boy.
Gorshin actually began his career by working as an usher at a movie theater.
And I had the opportunity to see movies over and over again, and I'd find myself doing these people. And whatever picture was playing, that would determine the character I would be doing. And I'd do it for the people that came into the theater. If a couple came in to be seated, I'd say, all right, the 3 of us are going down this aisle, but only one of us is coming back. Mm-hmm. You dirty rat.
In 1951, Gorshin's impressions won him a Pittsburgh talent contest and the grand prize of a 1-week booking at a big nightclub. Sadly, just a few days before opening night, Frank's brother was killed in a car accident, thrusting him and his family into turmoil.
Yeah, and I didn't know what to do. I mean, I felt so bad. I was crying, and my mom was crying, and preparations were being made, you know, for his funeral, you know, in a funeral home. And it was an opportunity for me. I didn't know whether to enjoy it, whether to be sad. It was strange, you know. I didn't know what to do.
The show had to go on.
Didn't know what my commitment was, you know. And I guess I tried to split my energies, you know. Yes. And my folks insisted that I go and do it, you know. And I'm grateful, you know, to them for doing that. But it was, you know, it was just really strange that it happened the way it did, you know, because there was so much happiness for me when I won that contest that my folks enjoyed too, you know,
you won
to
it,
see me that happy, and then suddenly, bang, that happened, and to my folks.
The nightclub performances led to variety shows, first with Steve Allen and later in 12 appearances on The Ed Sullivan Show, including the legendary episode that brought the Beatles to America. Those shows led to guest spots on programs like The Untouchables and Star Trek.
Are you blind, Commander Spock? Oh, look at me. Look at me. You're black on one side and white on the other. I am black on the right side.
I fail to see the significant difference.
Loki is white on the right side. All of his people are white on the right side.
But of course, Gorshin's most memorable role was as the Riddler.
Adios, amigos. See you in court.
Known for his devious riddles, striking costumes, and maniacal laugh, Gorshin's Riddler plagued the Caped Crusader through 9 episodes and a feature film.
Are you pompous, puffed up penguin? Our friends make peace. Have a shake on me.
When Gorshin was unavailable during the show's 2nd season, he was briefly replaced by the Addams Family's John Astin.
The Caped Crusaders are defunct, departed, demised, dead.
But to Batman fans, Gorshin's Riddler was the only one that mattered. The role thrust him to new heights of popularity that included an Emmy nomination and even his own single.
What did the chick say to the other chick when the hen laid an orange instead of an egg?
What did the chick say to the other chick when the hen laid an orange, not an egg?
The chick said, look at the orange marmalade. Puzzle you a puzzle, I quiz you a quiz. Gonna keep you guessing like nobody's business. I'm a whiz, and my name is the Riddler. Riddle me this.
Gorshin continued to work for decades after Batman ended. He played George Burns in a one-man Broadway show, starred alongside fellow impressionist Rich Little in The Copycats, appeared in the movie 12 Monkeys, and on an episode of CSI directed by Quentin Tarantino. As popular as the Riddler was, the public often confused him with Batman's other laughing lunatic, the Joker.
Oh, how delicious it is! The Joker outwits Batman and steals the fabulous jewel collection right out from under his nose. Oh, my playful, pilfering pals, how delicious it is!
We hate to sound a sour note, Joker,
but it's time for us to make our own collection.
Destroy them!
The Joker was played by former Hollywood heartthrob Cesar Romero, who famously refused to shave his mustache for the role, opting instead to just cover it with grease paint.
Ask yourselves, what is wrong with this sentence? He who laughs last, laughs good.
Romero began his career as a dancer in the 1920s, using his earnings to support his family. His big break in the movies came with 1935's The Devil is a Woman with Marlene Dietrich.
Life is difficult, isn't it, with so many admirers?
Sometimes it is.
On the other hand, life is very easy for me. I'm going to leave you now. I must say I'm grateful to Pasquale for his warning. If it hadn't been for him, I'd have fallen madly in love with him.
He also played the Cisco Kid in a series of 6 westerns, appeared opposite Carmen Miranda in Weekend in Havana, and played one of the prospective killers in the film classic The Thin Man. Cesar is best remembered today as the Joker, Batman's clown prince of crime, a cackling madman with a penchant for deadly practical jokes.
My own utility belt!
Hey, terrific! Can I try it?
Hands off, you fool! It is for me only. Me, your merry master. Secrets are my precious property.
What does it do, Joker?
Everything. It's my Aladdin's lamp.
For his part, Romero loved bringing the Joker to life.
Yes, we have a lot of fun doing the show, and we had a lot of fun making the movie. And it's a part, you know, that you can do everything that you've always been told not to do as an actor. In other words, you can get as hammy as you like and go all out, and it's great fun. I enjoy it.
What are you doing?
Perhaps Batman's most accomplished performer was the Penguin himself, none other than Burgess Meredith.
How dare you mock me on the eve of my greatest triumph? Do you really mean that Batman is going to plan our caper? Yes, my fine feathered finks. It's just a little plot that I hatched in prison. Now you wait and see. The Batman and the Penguin are going to be partners in plunder.
A shining light of the New York stage, Meredith began appearing in films in the 30s, with rave reviews for The Story of G.I. Joe and Of Mice and Men.
Lenny, I want for you to sit down there. And I want for you to look across that river. Because I'm going to tell you like you could almost see it.
Uh-huh. Go on, George.
We're going to have a little place.
We're going to have a little place.
We're going to have a cow, a pig, and some chickens. And then down on a flat, we're going to have a field of alfalfa.
For the rabbits. And I get to tend the rabbits.
Tend the rabbits.
After being blacklisted by the House Un-American Activities Committee, he found himself turning to radio and television. He appeared on 4 episodes of The Twilight Zone, with his very first being one of that series' most memorable stories.
That's not fair at all. There was time now. There was
was all the time I needed. That's not fair.
There were also appearances on shows like Rawhide and The Wild Wild West, but nothing proved as popular as Batman's monocled mastermind, the Penguin.
I put you to sleep in the armor.
I saw it. A trap.
Dummies in that armor.
We were here all the time.
All right, boys. Our umbrellas.
With his distinctive quacking laugh and ingenious umbrellas, Penguin quickly became a favorite of both audiences and of the crew. In fact, the Batman writers liked Meredith so much that they made sure to keep a new Penguin script ready should Burgess suddenly become available. Burgess Meredith appeared in 19 episodes of Batman, tying with Cesar Romero for the record of most commonly appearing villain. But as welcome a face as Penguin was, he is not Meredith's best-known role. No, that distinction would have to go to Mickey, the curmudgeonly boxing trainer in the Rocky series.
My problem? You got the problem, kid. You got a ticker problem. What's the matter? You got nothing left inside, huh? Because you're training like a damn bum, you know that?
Bum.
A bum!
That role brought Meredith an Oscar nomination and newfound fame as a true silver screen icon.
One of the peculiar things that happens to me, I did a series once called the Batman series, which I played, not every one of them, but I played a thing called the Penguin.
Penguin.
That hangs on. People come up and talk about that, and it's rather depressing. You work all your life and get asked to sign a picture of a penguin.
Batman was produced by William Dozier, and casting these famous guest actors as special guest villains was a masterstroke that kept the series fresh and gave the audiences a little extra thrill from week to week. Besides Riddler, Joker, and Penguin, there was the Bookworm, played by Roddy McDowall, later of Planet of the Apes. Character actor Victor Buono, who had starred with Bette Davis in Whatever Happened to Baby Jane, played addled history professor turned Egyptian enemy King Tut.
Will you see? While Batman is bouncing around in belfries in far-off Egypt, I'll do what I set out to do before. Abduct Bruce Wayne!
And classic Hollywood horror icon Vincent Price cracked everyone up as Egghead.
Forget your burrow. Get on the back of my Batgirl cycle and show me where your hideout is.
That thing, but I might be extinguished.
But, of course, no discussion of Batman's rogues gallery would be complete without that one and only feline felon, Catwoman.
Is that so? Tell me more.
Catwoman was actually played by 3 different actresses, the first of which was Julie Newmar. Julie started out as a dancer, appearing as the prima ballerina of the Los Angeles Opera at only 15. She soon began to dance in films like here in Serpent of the Nile. Her first major acting role, though, was in the classic movie musical, 7 Brides for 7 Brothers, where she was credited under her given name, Julie Newmar. She began appearing in TV in the 60s. She posed as a maid on The Phil Silvers Show.
But I don't know nothing about housework.
What do you have to know? The minute you wave a cloth and Mrs. Hall sees you, your career of a maid is through. Come on.
Wait.
What is it?
I don't know. So silly, me doing housework.
Was it silly when I got your picture in all the papers when I made you miss 3-day pass? Was that silly?
Played an actress on the Beverly Hillbillies, and ironically, portrayed a cat turned human on Bewitched.
I know it sounds silly, but the truth is, I've never met a man who made me feel so secure. I mean, so perfectly content.
There were also appearances on The Twilight Zone and Star Trek, not to mention the starring role on the short-lived My Living Doll, a sitcom about a sexy robot.
Now get this through your computers. You are not dizzy. You're a robot, and a robot can't feel dizzy. You can't feel anything. You're made of low modulus polyethylene plastics and assorted components, and they can't get dizzy.
Computes.
All right, now tell me what's the matter with you.
I feel dizzy.
When Batman came calling, it was Newmar's brother who convinced her to take the part.
And we were sitting in my living room in New York. I had a penthouse on Beekman Place. He had 5 or 6 friends there, and a phone call came and asked something about Catwoman in this show, Batman, and he overheard me. I said, I never heard of this, and so, oh, you got to do it, because we stop everything we do at Harvard, hello, and watch the show. So I flew out the next day, had the costume fitting and rehearsals on the set, and there you go.
It was a part that Newmar relished and one that would make her a TV icon. Unlike most of her compatriots, Julie involved herself in the very creation of the character, giving input on Catwoman's costume and makeup.
I changed it a little. I moved the belt from the waistline down to the hips because it was bright gold, and that way it would accentuate the hips more and not make your waist look so big. And I didn't have a makeup man. I just kind of invented eyebrows that went kind of weirdly. But it worked.
Newmar left Batman after the second season, but continued working well into the 90s as an entrepreneur and inventor, with registered patents for pantyhose and a brassiere. She also continued to act, appearing in George Michael's Too Funky music video and as herself on an episode of Melrose Place.
What they're paying and what I'm worth has nothing to do with my salary, thank you very much.
While Newmar played Catwoman throughout Batman's first and second seasons, she was unable to play the part in the Batman feature film, which shot in between the two. That film featured a team-up of Batman's best-loved villains, and taking over as Catwoman, albeit temporarily, was Lee Merriweather.
Perfectly. Perfectly. In my disguise as Kitka, I penetrated their press conference. The fools are completely baffled.
Merriweather first came to the public eye in 1955, when she won the Miss America pageant at age 19. She used the winnings to study acting under Lee Strasberg and soon began appearing on The Today Show, The Phil Silvers Show, Leave It to Beaver, The Man from U.N.C.L.E., Mission Impossible, Star Trek, and Time Tunnel.
The villa may be destroyed at any minute. Doug and Tony will be killed.
While the Time Tunnel was short-lived, it was an important role for Merriweather and for young women watching at home.
And women will come up to me, and men as well, but women I'm more impressed with, because they said, oh, watching you and doing what you were doing and being a nuclear bio, and they had names for me that I didn't know existed in science, let alone as a character, definition. I'm now working for JPL, I'm working for all because of you. And
Merriweather's Catwoman was a bit more explicitly cat-like and a bit more theatrical than Newmar's.
No, as a matter of fact, they didn't even suggest in the script that she meows.
No.
They had other ideas and all, and
Sure.
I said, gee, couldn't I just try a
May
meow
I
here,
please meow since
or
I know
purr
how.
here, or do this and that?
Yeah.
And they were willing to go along with it, and it worked out fine.
Merriweather would make one more appearance on Batman, playing Lisa Carson, a love interest for Bruce Wayne on a later episode of the show. A few years later, she found lasting work and critical acclaim in her 8 years on detective show Barnaby Jones.
Yeah, I'm now a fountain of information on 16 marriages, who gave what parties, football scores. But Barnaby, there were no truck heists, bank robberies, kidnappings, nothing.
When Batman entered its third and final season, it was with a new Catwoman, this time played by Eartha Kitt.
If the dynamic drips react the way I expect them to react, they will not step into this most hallowed and forbidden no man's land. But Batgirl will.
An incredible talent, Kitt began life in some of the harshest circumstances imaginable. As a mixed-race, illegitimate child in the South, she was hated and rejected by nearly everyone she met.
And my mother gave me to this family because the man that she wanted to marry said, I don't want that yellow gal in my house. Which meant that being an illegitimate child and also the wrong color. You are not wanted by the blacks, and the whites couldn't care less.
At a young age, her Her mother gave her away to a family that treated her as a slave and sexually abused her, until she was finally taken in by an aunt in New York.
Until my aunt, my mother's sister, who lived in New York, unfortunately she's gone now too, received letters from South Carolina that told her if I was not sent for, that they would either beat me to death, or starve me to death, or work me to death.
By sheer happenstance, Kit found herself at a dance audition that won her a scholarship and world travel, and began a meteoric rise to fame as a singer and a dancer. In the early 1950s, she recorded a number of hit songs, including the one she is probably best known for, Santa Baby.
Santa baby, just slip a sable under the tree for me. Been an awful good girl, Santa baby, and hurry down the chimney tonight.
No less than Orson Welles himself called Kit the most exciting woman in the world and hired her to appear in his production of Faust, while mentoring her and serving as a de facto father figure.
And at the same time, it was very exciting because I was learning so much all the time, particularly when he was with Michael McLeomore and Hilton Edwards from the Gate Theatre in Dublin, and we would all go to lunch. Well, the three of them and me would take me to lunch at the Calvados restaurant in Paris, and with each sip of food and with each sip of a drink, they would get up and they would start talking and reciting Shakespeare, or Marlowe, or even Jesus Christus, you know. And it was so exciting that I never wanted to move. I was like a fly on the wall. That's why I think he said I was the most exciting woman in the world, because I knew when to talk and when not to.
The Broadway revue and later movie New Faces of 1952 brought her even greater fame.
What is first throughout the earth, I'm known as femme fatale. When the yawn comes up like thunder, brother, take back your Taj Mahal.
Kit continued to work primarily as a singer, but nonetheless appeared in a handful of film and TV roles, including Anna Lucasta with Sammy Davis Jr.
Let's get out of here tonight, Danny. I gotta.
Now, let me think. Maybe I can hit Noah on the head. He ought to be good for about $20.
For $20, you'd have to kill me.
That's funny.
Sammy and Eartha became close, and after losing his eye in a horrific car accident, he even asked her to marry him.
He said, no. You would come into the bathroom with me, and I want to give you something. So he takes me into the bathroom. I said, Sammy, I cannot take this ring. Well, just put it on for tonight, he said. Nobody will know. How can anybody know? He wants me to put it on. I walk back into the room and the whole world knows already. Sure. The thing that squelched, really, not that I was in love with Sammy, although he was a great guy, and for me he was a wonderful person. A lot of fun. But when he left my dressing room, he went straight to the telephone and called the newspapers that he had given Eartha Kitt the ring, and I did not appreciate that at all.
Kit's most notable television role is undoubtedly as Catwoman during Batman's third and final season. Here, Kit really ratchets the cat angle to 11, practically oozing off the screen in every delectable appearance.
Won't she break through that thin twine, Catwoman?
I think not, Joker. Those cat's whiskers, a fiendish invention of mine. They automatically contract when placed in close contact with the heat of the body.
Not long after Batman ended, Kit found herself blacklisted by Lady Bird Johnson after speaking out against the war in Vietnam at a White House luncheon. She soon left for Europe, where she continued to record music and appear in film and television, eventually returning to the U.S. and Broadway with a production of Timbuktu.
Jesuit with the meat of the lychee nut, combined with the kumquat rind, the kind of confection to drive a man out of his North Central African mind.
Kit continued to perform on the stage and eventually returned to the screen, becoming an icon to 90s kids thanks to roles in Ernest Scared Stupid, The Nanny, and The Emperor's New Groove.
Excellent.
a few drops in his drink, then I'll propose a toast, and he will be dead before dessert.
Which is a real shame, because it's going to be delicious.
It's been said that a hero is only as good as his villains, and Batman certainly had some of the best. Thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this look at the careers of these tremendous performers. Of course, this is the part of the video where I ask you to like and to subscribe and to check out some of my other videos. I'll see you next time with another look at Hollywood history. Until then, stay safe, watch movies.